Hey everybody, it's Bob Gruszecki here from the Alberta Hunter Education Instructors Association. Here to talk to you about a very important concept, and that's firearm safety. We have a video as well as a workbook that we've designed, and the workbook is available online for free. Please download it and you can do a whole bunch of activities, but mostly you can deal with firearm safety and go into more detail than what I'm going to provide for you here today. This video is designed to talk to you about two very important concepts in the firearms education component, and that's ACTS and PROVE. So I'm going to demonstrate for you what the acronym ACTS and PROVE means. ACTS stands for 4 different functions. Each of the letters A, C, T, and S has a meaning. First of all, ACTS A. When we talk about the letter A, we want you to assume that every firearm you come across is loaded. So whatever you do, you're keeping your fingers off all the devices, just pick it up and assume it's loaded. Once you've done that, control the muzzle, that's letter C, control the muzzle at all times. Point it in the safest available direction. Whatever you deem to be a safe muzzle direction is the direction that that firearm has to be pointed in. You can move the firearm around, you can manipulate it, you can move back and forth, you can examine it from different angles, but pretend that that barrel is welded to a rod pointed down range, and nothing you can do will change the direction of that muzzle. Control the muzzle direction at all times. C. The next letter in the acronym is T. T stands for trigger. Keep your trigger finger off of the trigger, which is that little device inside this circular piece here called a trigger guard. Don't let your finger travel into the trigger guard. Keep it away from the trigger. The last letter in the acronym, S, stands for C. See that the firearm is unloaded and prove it safe. To do that, we have to do some manipulations with this firearm. First of all, PROVE has 5 letters that has meaning for each of those letters. The first one is P, which stands for point the firearm in the safest available direction. So I'm controlling the muzzle, I'm pointing it in the safest available direction. I'm going to R, remove all the ammunition. So in this case, these cartridges, if there are cartridges in there, by lifting the bolt and removing it or pulling it back, would extract and eject any spent or unspent rounds of ammunition from the firearm itself, out of the chamber or in the action. So I want to remove all rounds of ammunition. In this case, there's nothing there. I would observe the chamber, which is the letter O. To observe the chamber, I would look directly into the firearm and make sure that I can see at the edge of the barrel that chamber and that there's no ammunition inside it. Then V, which stands for verification, verify the feeding path. The feeding path is described as taking the ammunition from where it's stored, through the action, and then into the chamber where it awaits the discharge from the trigger being set. So the ammunition is, in this case, in a clip or a detachable magazine. It moves up into the action, then pushed forward by the bolt face into the chamber itself. So we verify the feeding path. You can also, in this case, remove the clip from the firearm. And by removing the clip, I can look at the top of the clip to see that there is no ammunition in it. I can look through now the action down onto where my hand is underneath and see that there's no ammunition hung up in the firearm itself, and I can see that there's nothing in the chamber. Once that's done, I can then examine the bore, which is the last letter in the acronym PROVE, E. To examine the bore, I'm going to take a rod, which is longer in length than the barrel itself, insert it into the muzzle end of the firearm, and bring it back until I see that red rod or the different color rod in the action itself. So now I've proved with this rod that there is at least not a full bore blockage of ammunition in the firearm. An alternative method is to remove the bolt. In this case, you could just remove the bolt completely like this. Take and look down the bore and examine that there's no ammunition or blockages in the firearm. An alternate method would be to use a commercially available device that lights, it refracts light through a plastic bend, and you can shine through and look down that bore. Or you can use a refractable light device, a piece of plastic that has a bend in it. By simply pointing it at a light source, it refracts the light and points it down into the bore. So once that's done, You can reload or close the action again on the firearm. We know that there's nothing in the firearm because we've gone through ACTS and PROVE. So again, ACTS, the acronym, and PROVE. ACTS, A stands for assume that the firearm is loaded. C, control the muzzle direction at all times. T, trigger, keep your finger outside the trigger guard and off the trigger. S, see that the firearm is unloaded and prove it's safe. Manipulate the action on the firearm until you're absolutely certain that there's nothing in there. To see that it's safe, you must prove that it's safe. Using the acronym PROVE, P, point the firearm in the safest available direction. Remove the cartridges. You can do that by moving the action, removing the clip as I demonstrated earlier. Observe the chamber, which is O, and then you verify the feeding path, and in this case we push the rod down the bore of the firearm until it was visible in the action itself, and that was the examination of the bore for obstructions. So ACTS, A-C-T-S, and PROVE, P-R-O-V-E. That's the basics of the Canadian Firearm Safety Course and the Hunter Education component of ACTS and PROVE. And I'm here to tell you that while information on firearm safety courses can be found online or in one of our workbooks, there clearly is no substitute from learning from somebody who is qualified to teach new students. There's formal instruction available, and you should seek it out and find it from somebody that we always recommend you take a course. Always take a course if you can. AHEIA offers a strong and dedicated network of certified instructors right across the province, and they conduct these courses. Visit our website at AHEIA.com to locate an instructor and a training option near you. Follow the safety procedures I've outlined here and those that are in our workbook. Develop some safe shooting habits, and remember, firearm safety is up to you. Think, your trigger can't. See you next time, but until then, have fun and please stay safe. Cheers.